In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to use Google Drive to sell digital products online. So if you've been looking for a simple solution to be able to sell your digital products, you absolutely can use Google Drive to do so. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is all of the stuff that you're going to need in order to be able to do it. And quite frankly, it's really not that much stuff. So let's get right into what you're going to be doing. So the first thing we're going to be doing is creating a simple sales page. So to give you an idea of what your sales page will look like on Google Drive, I'm going to point your attention to what you see on the screen here. And essentially what this is a modified version of a Google form that has been adapted to allow you to put in the information necessary to describe and start the process of selling your digital product. So let's get right into what you're going to need. So in order to sell digital products online using Google Drive, you're going to need the following things to be in place. One, you'll want to make sure that you either have a PDF of the document of the digital product that you're selling or a PDF that contains the link to the digital product you're selling. Now, if you actually have a Google spreadsheet or something that is actually stored within Google, then you'll just need the link and that can be placed into a PDF that you would provide to your customers. The second thing that you're going to need is to have in place a payment processor, and that's very easy to set up. You can set up something through, for example, PayPal or Stripe or Square. Those are very simple to get set up, but you'll want to make sure that you get that set up in advance because that's going to allow you to very easily link your Google form to your payment processor. So now that you know what you need, we're going to jump right over and get started building the Google form so that you can start selling your digital products online. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to move right over into Google Drive. Now here in Google Drive, I'm going to click on the button up at the top left that says New, and then I'm going to click on Google Forms. Once I click on Google Forms, this is going to allow me to start customizing what will ultimately act as our sales page. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off by entering the information that I want to have listed as the title of my sales page. So this is going to be a tropical hibiscus care guide. We're just going to call it that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just copy in some information that essentially is going to make this a little bit more descriptive of what's actually going on. So what I've done there is just copied in the phrase that says, let me show you how to grow beautiful hibiscus plants. All right, so the next thing we're going to do to begin customizing this page is I want to go over and start to put in information that's relative to my hibiscus care guide page. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is to get the document that I'm going to be using that's ultimately going to be sold to my customers. So I'm going to start off by going over to my Canva page here. And the first thing you're going to see me do here is to create a couple of things. One is going to be a picture of this first page, which is the cover page. And then the second thing I'm going to do is to create a PDF file. So in order to create a picture, I'm going to click on the share button, go down to where it says download, and then I want to leave it set to PNG, which is a picture, but I only want the first page. So I'm going to click on current page, which is the cover, and then I'm going to click on done. Once I click on done, then next I will go ahead and click on download. That's going to allow me to use this picture as part of the page that I'm customizing over in Google Drive. Now, the second thing I need to do is to download the entire document as a PDF because this is ultimately going to be your digital product. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on share. This time I'll click on download and change this to PDF. And I'm going to leave it set to PDF standard, but I don't want just the current page. I want all of the pages in this document. So I'll select all pages 1 through 5, and then I'll click done. And now what I'm going to do is click on download. So this will go ahead and download this document. Now you might be asking, why am I doing that? Because again, I'm going to be using these as part of my customization tools. The second thing that I'm going to be doing here is actually getting the information ready for what people will ultimately download. Now, if you'd like to learn how I created this ebook in Canva, I'm going to link a video above as well as in the description box. Using Canva just really gives you the opportunity to make your ebooks or your digital products look a lot more professional and really makes them pop by being able to add elements as well as colors and customize it with fonts and so forth. So don't forget to check that out. Now, the next thing I want to do is head back over to the form, and I want to make it look a little bit more like what people are going to be downloading. So I want to change my color schemes out, if you will. So in order to change the color scheme out, I'm going to come up to where it says Customize Theme. And then what I'm going to do is have a couple of different options, and I'm going to focus right now on this section that says color. So what I want to do is to make the colors pretty similar to what you saw in the ebook that I have created over in Canva. So I'll go back to Canva. I'm going to click on this section here so I can get the actual code. And once I have that code, now I can come back over to my form, click on this plus button down in the lower right corner that says color, and then I'm going to just simply copy in the hex code that you saw there. Once I do that, I'll just simply click on add, and once I click on add, you'll notice that it changed the color there. Now I don't want this pink color, so I'm going to come down to where it says background, and I want to change that to gray. Now I do want to point out to you that when you see this blue on the side, that will not appear on your sales page. That just simply shows you that's the active section that we're working with. Now the next thing that I want to do is customize a header, because I want people when they arrive on this page to know exactly what it is we're talking about. So I want to go over to a website where you can get royalty-free images, and then I'm going to just type in hibiscus and hit enter. I'm going to find something that I like. This one is going to work fine. I'll click on that, and then I will click on download. I'll leave it set to that, because now what I want to be able to do is to use that as part of my header image on this page. So I'll come back over to where it says form, choose my image, and now what I want to do is upload that image that I just grabbed from Pixabay. So I'll just find it on my computer, drag it in, and now what it's going to do is upload that to my Google form. And you can just select a portion of the image that you like. I'm going to then just leave it set to where it is and click on done. And what you're going to see is that it's going to then add in that image. So you can already see that it's starting to look better. Now what might happen to you, because this has happened to me several times, is it may change colors on you. So just go back and click the image color that we had and set the background again. Now, if you're getting some value out of this video and certainly learning how to sell your digital products online, I definitely would appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video as well. Now, the next thing we're going to do from here is we're going to start putting in some descriptive text. So when our customers arrive, they'll be able to read what it is that we're actually offering. So the first thing I want to do, let's close out this section that says theme. And before I do that, I will also show you can change both your text and the font. So let's go ahead and click on add title and description. So once I do that, what I'm essentially going to do now is just copy in some text that will allow people to read a little bit more about our digital product. Okay, so the first thing I've done is just added in a little bit of text there. Now what I want to do is just to put in a little bit more, so again, people will know what it is they're going to be purchasing and a little bit more about what to expect. So I've copied that in, and as you saw, you may have to do a little bit of formatting. Now the next thing I want to do here is to add in an image, and this is going to be an image of our digital product. So this is where I'm going to put in the cover. So click on Add Image. And once I click on Add Image, we're going to go back to where you downloaded that cover page from your digital product and drag that in. Now, once we drag that in, and you'll see it's going to come in fairly large depending on the size that you actually downloaded it as. So in order to resize this, I'm going to click on the image, and you'll notice that you have these little squares that appear at the edges. So what we're going to do is just use these edges, these squares, and we're going to drag them down. And that's going to help us resize the image. I'm going to pull it in just a little bit more. Now, in order to move it, you notice I had to click off, and now these three dots, vertical dots, actually appear. And what this is going to allow me to do is to move the location of this. So I want to center align this. Now, once I center align this, it's in a great place for me. That works for me. So now I'm just going to add in some additional wording. So I'm just going to put in Tropical Hibiscus ebook. Now, if you look at this page, we're actually getting to the point where we're almost ready to have it set and formalized as our sales page. Now I want to move down to this section, and you'll notice it says Untitled Question. So what I'm going to do here is to put in this option, and it's essentially going to say, click the button to purchase. Okay, and I'm going to customize where it says option 1, and I'm going to put in ebook, and let's just make this $7. Okay, now here's the thing I want you to be aware of. Even though I could put in additional options, what I find is that because of the way that you actually have to provide a link to someone, it is difficult to sell more than one product type on a single page. So if you wanted to sell a different version of this, you really would need to create an additional form that would be specific to that additional product. So that is one of the limitations here. So what I'm going to do with this next section here is I want to go ahead and change this to where it says required. Now, the reason why you want this to be set to required is simply because you want people to have to click something in order to create the page. Now, we're not quite where we need to be, but you can see it's already starting to look pretty good here. Okay, and just to give you a preview of what it looks like, if you come up to the top where it's a little eyeball here, and if you click on that, you're going to see a preview of what it is your customer would see, and you'll see where it's that ebook option is now available. Okay, let's go back into the document again. Now, the next thing I want to do before we add in our payment information is I want to go back to Google Drive, and essentially what I want to do is upload my document. So you're going to come over to where it says New, you'll click on that, and the first thing you're going to do is click on the option that says File Upload. So we're going to click on File Upload, and then we're going to locate that file that I downloaded from Canva. Okay, and you'll want to make sure that you're grabbing the PDF version. So click on that and then click open, and it will go through the process of uploading your PDF. Now, if your document happens to be located within Google Drive, you can kind of ignore this step. And the same thing applies if you have a Google spreadsheet or anything else. All right. Now, you'll notice that what I just did was upload that document. And down in the bottom, you'll see the section that says that the upload is actually complete. To show you that it's actually there, I just reloaded the page, and you'll see right at the top here, it says Tropical Hibiscus Care ebook PDF. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back to our form. And in this form, the next part of this process is going to help us get ready to link our payment processor to our Google form. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to come up to these three vertical buttons that say More. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Click on that, and then we're going to click on Get Add-ons. The next thing you'll do is where it says search apps, you're going to type in payable forms, and you'll see it appears right at the top. You'll click on payable forms, and then you'll select it by clicking on it, and then we're going to install it by clicking there. So once you click on install, it's going to ask you what account. I happen to have multiple accounts, so I'm going to tell it which account I want to install it to, go through that process, allow the options that I need to, and then it will complete the installation. Now, once the installation is completed, then you can close this section out, but you'll notice payable forms appeared here at the top. So I'm going to just click on this X to get rid of that. And now I have a guide that I'm going to be working with. So what we're going to be doing is customizing this form and really allowing it to work for us. Now, down in this section where it says getting started, you're going to have some options. So the first thing that I want to do is to come down to the section that says sync theme with checkout. So what that will do is to take the color scheme that I've selected for this form and really add it onto our checkout page, if you will. So I'm going to click on that, and it'll take just a second to do that. Now, the second thing that I want to do, and here I can click on show me a preview so that you can see what the page is going to look like, which is kind of cool because you'll see that as I start to auto configure things, this is going to actually change. So I'm going to close that out. Now, the next thing I want to do is to auto configure the form and sheet. What that's going to do is to create a Google Sheet that's going to capture all of the information that your customers are entering. And so now if I click on See Connected Google Sheet, you'll see what it actually looks like. So it's going to have the timestamp, the email addresses, the payment status, and so forth. So that's going to be there as well. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to skip over this section that says add a sample payment section, but just know that you can do that, and that will allow you to use some different options. I'm going to skip that for right now. Now, the next thing I want to do is to come down to the section where it says connect a payment provider. I'm going to click on that, and then what I'm going to do is to connect this to my Stripe account because that's what I'm choosing to use. Again, you can choose to use any of the options that are available. My recommendation again would be that you go ahead and get those set up prior to getting to this section. So what I'm going to do is just click on Stripe, and you'll see the options that appear here, okay? But I'm going to click on Stripe, and then I'm going to go through the process of connecting my Stripe account. Once you connect your account, it's going to direct you back to your payment page, and it's going to show you that you're actually connected. All right, so now that I have connected it, and you'll see that it's showing connected here, I'm going to go ahead and close that out and continue adding in the information that's going to be needed. Now, this is currently asking me, do I want to make this form payable? And I'm going to go ahead and click on yes to enable that. Now, we're still not done with all of the items that we need to finish, okay? So what we're going to do now is to go over to a couple of additional options that we need to put in place. Now, I'm going to leave this set to on for practice because it's still in that's the testing mode that I want it to be in. If I click on payment settings, for example, it's going to tell you what my payment processor is, and you can select your currency. Okay, we're going to go back, and the next thing we're going to do is go to our checkout settings. Now, I want to change this from service to product or good. And if you are or need to collect sales tax information, you can put that in. Now, the other thing I want to do is to put in a post-payment message, and you will need to do this as well. This is where you're going to need to have the link to your PDF file, the link to your spreadsheet if it's in Google Drive, or your document if that's also within Google Drive. So whatever it is that your customer will need to download is what you want to put into this section. So let me just type in a message pretty quick here, and then I'll show you how you can then get the link that your customer will click on. Okay, so you can see what I've done is I've just put in a message that says, thank you for your purchase. Click the link below to download your ebook. So now you might be wondering, well, how do you get the link? So here we are over in my Google Drive. You're going to come over to this section that says More Actions. It's where you'll find the three vertical dots. Click on that, come down to where it says Share, hover over that, and then click on Copy the Link. So now that the link has been copied, I can go back into my form and just simply paste it in to that little box. Now, if you have a document or a spreadsheet that is stored within Google Drive, you'll do the exact same thing. So once you have the download link entered in there, you can just hit the back button, and now you're pretty much ready to go. Now, if you want to add in some notification settings, or if you want to put in a promo code, you would click these sections in order to do that. Now, if you take a look at this, if by clicking on preview, you're going to get an idea of what your customer is actually going to see. And we're going to go right through the process of doing a test purchase so that you know that this actually works. All right, so let's go back to our original document. And while we're here, let's just go ahead and click there so that it assigns the Tropical Hibiscus Care Guide to name to the form. So the next thing I want to do is to show you what it looks like when someone actually clicks on this page. So if we again were to click on preview, I'm going to just reload the page so that you can see we can actually begin the process of running a test transaction. And the reason why I'm saying running a test transaction is, keep in mind I still have it set to test mode. Okay, so over here on this section, this is now your customized sales page, so to speak. So just to show you how this is going to work, I want to point out a couple of things to you. First, your customer will need to enter an email address in order to go to the next page. And they're going to need to click this button and submit in order to complete the process of purchasing your ebook. Okay, so one thing I do want to point out to you, and I want you to stay until the end because I'm going to share some of my thoughts on using a form such as this, and I'm also going to share some of its limitations, so you really need to stay until the very end. But just know that this absolutely will work. So I'm going to go ahead and put in an email address here. So I'll just say my name at gmail.com. Then I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to click on where it says ebook, and then I'm going to click submit. Now, once I click submit, it's going to take me to the next page, and it's going to point out payment is required at the next step. Click the link below to continue. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and you'll see that it's starting to prepare that order because it knows that I want to purchase the $7 ebook. So it's going to redirect me, count it down, and remember, it's telling me that it's still in test mode. But you'll notice that it says ebook, here's the $7. It's going to tell me what payment options I have available to me. And then what I want to do now is go ahead and run a test transaction. Now, it's actually going to provide you with test cards. These are fake numbers for Discover, American Express, Visa, and MasterCard. I'm just going to copy the number for a Visa card, okay? And then I'm going to come down to this section. So this is what it would actually look like if your customer was purchasing. I'm going to click where it says card number, and I'm going to paste that in. You can then go to the next section where it says expiration date. Just put in any valid date past today's date. Same thing for the CVC number. You're going to put in something there. Obviously, the country would need to be entered, and then you're going to put in a zip code. Now, once you do that, all you have to do is to click on pay whatever the amount is, and I'm going to go ahead and do that so that you can see it actually works. So when I click on that, it's going to say it's sending my payment. It's thanking me, and then what it's going to do is redirect me to that post-purchase message. So you'll notice it says, thank you for your purchase. It also has the details of the transaction. Now remember, this is a fake transaction. However, this is exactly what your customers would see. It would just actually be in purchase mode as opposed to test mode. And then down here, it says, thank you for your purchase. Click the link to download your ebook. Remember, that's exactly what I typed in. So once I click on that link, what it's going to do is to take me to my ebook. And you remember, it was 5 pages long. And so here's that actual ebook. Now the customer could then just click here on this download it, and then they could actually save it. So you'll see it absolutely does work. Now, once you're ready for your sales page within Google Drive to go live, and remember I'm using the term sales page in quotations here, the first thing you'll need to do is to come back to the form and click where it says testing mode. Click that down arrow and switch it to off for real money. Essentially what you're saying is I want to turn off testing mode and make this live. Now the second thing that you're going to need to do is to click this preview button. And once you click preview, you're going to need to copy this link because that's what you're going to need to provide to your customers to be able to access this page and start their process of purchasing. Now, I mentioned to you a little while ago that I want to share some of my thoughts with you because although this will absolutely work, I want to point out a couple of things to you that could potentially cause issues with your customers, and I certainly want to share with you other options that are going to be available to you. So the first thing is when customers arrive on this page, if they're immediately prompted to enter their email address, that could potentially be a turnoff to some customers. So I just want you to be aware of that. The second thing is once they click on ebook and they click on submit, here's the second issue that I think could potentially cause you some issues. And it is this step in between hitting submit and going to the actual checkout page. You want your sales process to be as seamless as possible. And although it's just one click, for some customers, that's enough for them to get distracted, do something else, and forget to purchase. Now, the third thing that I think could potentially be an issue for you is here you are creating a document and you are in fact collecting email addresses in your form. However, emailing these customers could potentially cause you some issues because they have not given their express permission. And I can absolutely tell you that, for example, if you're going to try emailing them, if they were to report you, report the fact that you are emailing them. Like, for example, if you were to take their email address and import it into your email provider and start emailing them, that could potentially be a problem for you because they have not given express permission. Now, the fourth thing that I think could potentially be an issue for you is the link that you have to send people to is very, very long. So you have to make sure that you have a way of either using a URL shortener or you would have to hyperlink this. So again, that is something that could be a challenge for you. And then the final thing is you don't have the ability to offer multiple options. So let's say, for example, you wanted to offer an ebook and then a second option where you had an ebook and, let's say, instructional videos. It's difficult to use this type of document in order to do that. So I just want you to be aware of that. And I'm also going to link a video above that's going to give you what I feel are better options for you to use as you are selling your digital products online. Now, one other item that I want to show you is the document or the spreadsheet that's going to be created when your customers are entering information into your checkout page. So if you come back over to your form, you're going to be able to click on this section here that says responses. And when you do that, you'll see those email addresses that I actually entered in. And you'll see that it is linked to a spreadsheet. Now, if I come over to the spreadsheet that it's created, you're going to see the two email addresses that I put in, the payable total, and you'll see that it says that it was paid and the checkout process was started. Now, you absolutely can use Google Drive to sell your digital products online, as we've shown here, but I do think there are some better alternatives and some things that really won't cost you much and some that you can do absolutely free that will allow you more customization options and allow you to capture email addresses the correct way and ultimately grow your audience. So I'm going to be linking a video above and including it in the description box that's going to give you some additional options in terms of selling digital products online that I think are some great alternatives. If you found this information to be helpful, definitely consider giving this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.